I just wanted to pop up tonight to go over some of the things we've been talking about. I wanted to cover some of the general concepts that I'm going to be putting out there for the next few weeks, maybe even the next few months. There's a lot of questions that people have thrown out that I haven't quite answered yet, that I haven't gotten around to, and just some topics I thought that we might want to discuss. Uh, I've been putting so much into these online courses that I'm trying to make. I don't really have much time for anything else besides work and the kids and the house. So I'll probably be focusing on this for the next few months, honestly. And I'm going to pop up live when I can, of course, just to say what's up to you guys. Real quick, I just want to double check everything, make sure that everything's working correctly. I'm going to check YouTube, and then I think I should be live on over on TikTok right now at the moment. I haven't gone live on TikTok through this app yet, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work or if that's even working. I don't even know how I can check that from my laptop, but I'll figure it out. Let's make sure we're good on YouTube here. Okay, yep, there we are. Let's make sure the audio is working. You're going to hear some echoes real quick. Or if that's even working. I don't even know. Yep, how I sounds good. Okay. From my laptop, but I'll figure it out. Let's make I'm going to hit like on that. On YouTube here. All right, looking good. Everything's looking good. I'm happy to be here. I've been working on my most recent video pretty diligently, and I'm excited to put that out. It's going to be a big one. It's the next big one I've been talking about, and really the entire point of the new video is where the concept of the human spirit comes from, and I think I touched on that like the last time I was up here. I think I was talking about how I'm gonna cover that. But the video's done. The edits are done. Everything's good to go. So hopefully we can start diving into that. I'm going to be definitely putting out shorts from that. But then with that, I have little PDF guides to go along with it. What's up, people? What up, everyone? Yeah, I'm very tired. I worked, after working all week, and then I worked Saturday night, overnight, and then they actually called me in to work again. So, yeah, it's been a long week, and then, I didn't plan on working today, but, so I hopped up here as soon as I could. It's also pretty warm in here, and I'm out in my studio right now. I don't want to run the AC or anything, just for myself, so... Yeah, it's warm, and I don't plan on being up here too long because I also have work again tomorrow, but it's all good. Yeah, I'm exhausted. I'm a little hot, and but it's cool. I was supposed to be dropping a video tonight, but it's not quite finished, so I'm kind of holding off on that, and I just figured I'd hop up live just to say what's up and talk about that video a little bit. And just to have something out there tonight. There's something in my nose? Nah, there ain't nothing in my nose. I'm just a little sweaty. Devin Karma, though. Good initials for your name. DK, right? Yeah, so what up, everyone? Like I said, the new video is going to be about the history of the spirit, and I want to... there's a few people that I invited up here tonight that were questioning me on some of the last videos, and I let them know I'd be up here live. There's 4 people who yeah, no bragging. My bad. Yo, so there's like 4 people who were commenting on the last 2 videos I put up, and I welcomed all of them to join me up here live tonight for a debate about some of those topics. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kimmy. Yeah, so I mean, like the topic tonight, we could talk about dreams. I also just put out that free ebook on how to lucid dream and how to start remembering your dreams. But I wasn't going to go over that tonight. Like I said, I invited a few people up here that said that they would be willing to have open dialogue with me about some of the concepts of the spirit and the soul and like the history of God and all that. Some of these religious people over here, it's funny because like I always said, the religious people call me an atheist and atheists call me a believer. So like I was hoping some of those people might join me live here. We'll see if any of them tap in, but I'm definitely open to that. If it, the one subject was unfulfilled prophecies and the how Jesus was definitely a failed prophet. The other subject was uh like the accuracy and the historicity behind the Daniel's dream interpretations when Daniel interpreted those dreams for Nebuchadnezzar. And although Daniel is my favorite book of the Bible, it's obviously mostly nonsense. What is a powerful gift or skill? I'm assuming you meant to say. Can you use? Oh, once you lucid dream? Well, the possibilities are almost endless with lucid dreaming. And I'll be getting into that in some of my upcoming courses. But like one of the first things that I'll be putting in the course is to how to overcome stress and anxiety through lucid dreaming. And just the overall concept here is once you learn how to control your dreams and influence your dreams, it's not 100% every time, but once you get pretty good at it, you'll be more comfortable with addressing situations that you're dealing with in your waking life. And you can, one of the theories behind why we dream, and I think it's definitely very likely, it's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons, and it's called the information processing hypothesis. And it's basically how when we're dreaming at night, we're running through different things that we deal with throughout the day or things we might have to deal with. And we try to find new ways to approach those things, and we try to find effective ways to approach them. It's one of the reasons for nightmares too. We have nightmares so that potentially we could play out how we might react to these things emotionally and mentally, and so that we're better suited to deal with those things in our waking life. And that's why a lot of dreams are focused around stressful situations and things like that, potentially. The one like one is called threat simulation hypothesis, and it's basically how we encounter threatening things in our dreams so that we can deal with them better when we're awake. So you said because I'm getting to becoming lucid, but then I'm like, what the fuck now? Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, like what do you do from there? Well, one thing you can do is like, for example, and everyone's different, but like one thing you can do is if you have something you've been waiting to approach in your life, something that you've been apprehensive about, maybe talking to a certain person or trying something new. You can, when you're lucid dreaming, you can say, okay, let me play out some of those scenarios and see how I might respond. Sure, essentially you're just talking to yourself, but you can actually learn a lot, and that's how you can learn the most about yourself. And that's only one thing. You said for real, is my step brother that passed 6 to 7 years ago, and I gotta move this closer. And when he sneaks into my dreams, I'm instantly able to realize I'm dreaming. That's interesting. One thing that a lot of people use to help them become lucid is what they call a dream guide. And a lot of times it manifests itself as a lost loved one, or a lot of times it might be whatever religion you're affiliated with. You might see an angel or a deity that's based on that religion. And there's Carl Jung has different archetypes, but yeah, it makes sense. So when you realize that you're dreaming, like I said, one thing you can do is play out certain scenarios if you have a job interview coming up or something like that. But other things like for people who suffer from like depression or PTSD, like for PTSD, and this is actually, it's going to be in the upcoming video. I got like 30 pages of notes on this, like this subject alone, just PTSD and dream therapy, and studies have been done on this, and people are actually really working with this in labs, and it's pretty conclusive that you can treat PTSD with dream therapy. And what they do is they'll take like people who have been in crazy situations, and they'll have them, when they become lucid. Sometimes you don't even have to lucid dream for this actually, but you can set up the scenario for your dream before you go to sleep, and you can kind of guide yourself into that scenario. If you become lucid, it's a lot easier. So when you become aware in your dream, if you suffer from some sort of PTSD, you can, like I said, even though it's tough, this can be really, really tough, especially for things that are traumatizing, but you can recreate those scenarios and you can give them a different outcome. And what's interesting is that when something happens in the mind, it's almost indistinguishable from reality, in the sense that, like when you're lucid dreaming, when lucid dreaming was first discovered in the lab by scientists, they didn't know that the people were actually dreaming. When the scientists were looking from a separate room at all of the information from the electroencephalographs and all that stuff and all the meters that they have hooked up to these people, it looked like the people were awake. You know, all everything showed that those people were awake, but then they go in the room and they see that these people are actually sleeping. So lucid dreaming was originally, or REM sleep. REM sleep is when you're in the deepest stage of dreaming. It's called REM sleep, meaning rapid eye movement, because your eyes are moving around. Usually your eyes are moving where you're actually looking in your dream. So scientists, they first called REM sleep paradoxical sleep. They called it paradoxical sleep because most of their brain scanners showed that the people were awake, but they were still physiologically sleeping, but most of their mind was awake. So you said, just in case no one's told you today, I hope you're doing well. You matter, and I'm wishing you nothing but good things. Yo, thank you. Thank you. NRT site, I really appreciate that, and I wish the absolute best for you as well. And no one told me that today, so I appreciate it. He said, oh, snaps, that is a scary thing to me, to have those deeper conversations that others refuse to even speak about. PTSD is a great area of healing. Wow. I'll have to look into that. Yeah. Yo, I'm loving you guys in the comment section. Beautiful. I don't even know what's going on over at TikTok because I don't have that open on my screen, but we're good. So everyone on TikTok, if you are tuning in, you know what? I didn't even bother to share this video out anywhere yet. You guys got me jumping right into it. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you beautiful people. And it's a very, very good question. So, Kimmy Moses, you definitely, I could talk about that all night. PTSD, stress and anxiety. There's also addiction relief through dream therapy. And again, you don't have to lucid dream for this, but lucid dreaming will definitely enhance it and can definitely help it. But then this has definitely been TikTok Apple socks. Yeah. Do you mean TikTok app sucks? Is that what you're trying to say? Either way, yeah, I agree. So like people cure addiction through dream therapy. Like, for example, and this is only one small example, and there's so many different ways to approach it, especially depending on your addiction and your particular situation. But okay, you said childhood trauma and a lifelong recovering addict. Yeah. Okay, well, Kimmy Moses, I don't know if you've engaged with me on here before. I don't necessarily recognize that name, but there's so many names out there. Yeah, you should definitely follow my page or subscribe or something, because I have upcoming videos and courses on all of this, and I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I'm really going to be diving deep into it with more high quality videos. So, and I'll also be jumping up here live to take more questions about it, and I'm believe me, I'm like chest deep in research on all of this stuff right now. I got like 4 books open right there on the table. Uh, I'm I'm definitely trying to approach it from every angle that I possibly can. But one way that they've cured. Oh, you've seen my videos. Thank you. I really appreciate it. One way that they interesting thing that they did to help treat people's addiction through dream therapy is they will when if like just for example, say someone that's addicted to cigarettes and they want to quit smoking, they will when the person is asleep and they're in the REM stage of sleep, even through the hypnagogic state, this can also be effective. But they'll give them the smell of smoke while they're sleeping. They'll literally like blow cigarette smoke at them so that they can smell it. And then it's ridiculous, and I'm not making this up. Okay, I got all the sources to back it, and it sounds crazy. But then they'll give them the cigarette smoke, and then they'll follow that up with the smell of rotten eggs or something, just a really nasty smell. And they do this repeatedly, and eventually these people associate that rotten smell with the smell of cigarette smoke subconsciously. This is on a subconscious level, and it makes them have the desire. They don't desire cigarettes as much, and it actually worked. And it I don't remember the exact numbers. I've went over it before in the other live when I was first pulling up some of that information. But I'll be when I put out the video, I'll definitely have links to all the studies and stuff. But it really works. And likewise, you can do it even with audio stimulation. Like someone who's addicted to gambling, they can play them the sounds of the slot machines and stuff, and then again you could use different mediums, but then you could play a really harsh sound for them, a really unpleasant sound at at a low enough level to not wake them up. And like this is inside the lab, but there's ways for people to do these things outside of the lab. And I talk about some of that in the free ebook that I just dropped. So if anyone's interested in that, definitely maybe come back to this live because the comments disappear once I'm not live anymore. I wonder if I could put a link. I should be able to put a link in the chat. Let me try that because I put this ebook out. I worked on it for months, and it's none of the philosophy and none of my opinions whatsoever. It's just straight information based on how to effectively help you remember your dreams regularly and then start to influence them and control them. And it's an easy read. Like most people should be able to read it in like 2 hours, give or take. But yeah, there's ways for you to do these things outside of the lab, just using basically your phone, and you can program different sounds into your alarm for these things. And again, you can work like guided meditations into these things. You can wow, where's my stuff? You can also oh, okay. I see what the problem is here. Sorry. Yeah, you can also find ways to use like different smells or different sensory input, and they also have like apps and different watches, and there's even like dream masks you can buy. And I mean, I'm all about trying to figure out ways to do these things organically so that you don't really need any type of external help. But of course, if those types of tools help you, then by all means, if it can be a catalyst to push you in the right direction. All right, so I just put the link for my ebook down there. All you got to do is put in your email, and it'll allow you to download it right away. And a few people told me that I should be charging for it because people told me they'd be willing to pay a lot of money for that. So, like 2 or 3 people told me how much it worked for them. But the whole point is like I get a lot of the same questions from people, and it seems like most people have the same struggles with these things generally. So that's why I wrote that book, just so I don't have to go through comment sections and type out paragraphs to everyone every day. I could just send them this link. What did I miss? So I like that about your channel. I can see you go to the extra. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really do. Like the research is really important to me. It really is. Not only for my own validation and my own personal comfort, but like a lot of people like to track the things I'm saying and try to call me out on things. He said, I've wondered the same thing because the background conversations on the lives can really make it click or not click. I agree. Have to go help my sister. She broke down. I will see you later. Okay, you're a beautiful soul. I definitely appreciate your input. Thanks for checking it out. Yeah. Good night, NRT site. I'm definitely going to look you up after this on YouTube. I appreciate you people definitely keeping the conversation going. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on over at TikTok. Shout out to any of you guys that might be watching on TikTok, but I can't see any comments from there. So we're going to hold it down here for a while. If anyone's curious, just if anyone's over on TikTok and they want to drop a comment or a question, just come over to YouTube. It's a better platform for me by far. They want the proof in the pudding. Yeah, which I don't think they really want the proof in the pudding, honestly. I wish that was the case. And what I realized from after doing so many of these is that they don't really generally want the proof. I can provide like links and all types of sources for people. And then usually when they follow up afterwards, it clearly shows that they haven't even checked out any of the sources I've tried to share with them. So, gonna do some cyber stalking. Yo, I just, yeah, I will. Usually, because I don't want to forget about everyone. Anyone who has some good positive input, I definitely like to follow up with them and check out their page. And they just don't want me to be right. I guess a lot of them don't want me to be right. It's funny because like I get like spiritualists coming at me for trying to talk about the science, and then I get like people that are more science minded coming at me trying to talk about the spirituality, and then I get like religious people telling me that I'm devilish for diving into dreams and esoteric concepts and stuff like that. But then like I try to show love to the religious people too, but it's tough. It really is tough. Like Christians, no offense to any Christians out there, but like they seem to be the most combative online. They definitely don't want evidence, and yeah, they don't want me to be right. And I don't really necessarily want to be right. Of course it's embarrassing when you're wrong about stuff, but KRS, knowledge reigns supreme. Absolutely. Yeah, cognitive dissonance. Yeah. Oh, you meant cray cray. Okay. Hey, KRS too, but yeah, it gets tough. It gets really tough because people tell me I'm dabbling with the devil and all that stuff when I'm just trying to share helpful information about dreams. And and the point is like I don't want to be combative. I don't want to oppose anyone, but I find myself like the next video I put out has a lot of debunking of different biblical stories, and that wasn't the overall intention of the don't be an ostrich. Yeah, exactly. They just want to stick their heads in a hole and like deny the reality of it. And like I have no problem giving credit to religious theologies when they deserve it. Like I appreciate all religious literature. Like I said, one of my favorite stories ever is the book of Daniel in the Bible. But like that doesn't mean that the book of Daniel is true and that it's real. And I have this dichotomy here where I'm trying to I just want to show love, and I'm fascinated with these topics. And like these people are trying to speak down on the information I want to share, and it's like if we're gonna go there, then like everything in their Bible is nonsense. I mean, it's full of fiction and contradictions. Been there and was that. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Yeah, I can't really relate to that. I was never fully really religious. I kind of started shying away from it when I was pretty young, like 12, 13, and I came across a lot of new age concepts and esoteric concepts at a very young age, and like history has always fascinated me. And I read the Enuma Elish, or translations of the Enuma Elish, before I read the Bible. So then by the time I was trying to digest the Bible and understand it, I couldn't help but notice all the parallels between the more ancient texts. And I couldn't help but notice where the Bible was influenced by these other things. And I'm not saying that the Bible completely copied all those stories, but like there was clearly some influence. And then the more you learn about it, the more that's evident. But I have been guilty of, like, when I was in those early stages, I've got real deep into like the Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, like New Age, the Secret, Rhonda Byrne type stuff, and I almost had a religious, like a religious understanding of that. I almost made that my religion, and pretty quickly learned how flawed that was. Another thing I like, but of course there's a lot to it, and and I do appreciate, like, Deepak Chopra is one of my favorite authors, and I'm not saying that like he's nonsense, but like, I was really into like the psychic mediums and the gemstones, which I still am. I love my gemstones, but then, and like the Reiki healing, I got a whole row of books on Reiki and Ayurveda right there, and it's like, I have to, if I wanted to be honest with myself, I had to acknowledge that a lot of that was nonsense too. So and that took me a while, and that was tough for me to admit that a lot of the spiritual teachers outside of the religions are equally full of shit. You do parallel things, and I do Venn diagrams. Bubble it up. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And there's overlap between all of these things. I was real deep into like the new age Christ consciousness type stuff, like, Christ represents the highest form of human consciousness and all that. And then and that's like in trying to show respect to some of the religious people, but then they're like, but if you're not following the Bible and like the some of the strict orthodoxy that goes along with it, then you're just dabbling with the devil. And it's like, all right, then your Christ consciousness is nonsense too, because like Christ, although the Sermon on the Mount is a beautiful speech, he was there to uphold the old laws of the Old Testament. So he condoned slavery and stuff too. So it's like, I don't want to call these people out, but I can't help it. I find myself doing it. And like, I just want to show love. So the next video I'm dropping is all about how the concept for the soul is all about the idea of air. Most of the videos that I make, whatever the topic is, I try to research the etymology behind the words. So like my angels and demons video, I give the history of the word demon, where it etymologically comes from, and the history of the word angel. That's one of the first things I do, and I basically do that with all my deep dive videos. So I was trying to look up the definition of the word spirit and the etymology behind it, and come to find out that spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, and spiritus meant breath. And then that got me thinking, like, ancient people didn't know what air was. And so if the word spirit was breath, clearly they just meant that the breath we breathe that's in our bodies is what they thought of as the spirit. You said my daughter clowns on me all the time as I do the last rerun on my final judgments based off of my intuitive sense and beliefs. That's awesome. That's awesome. I drive my kids crazy. My boys hate it. They're always rolling their eyes at me. Anytime they ask me a question, the first thing they say, they're like, don't say it depends. They're like, we don't want to hear a whole speech. We're just asking. And I'm like, I'm like, but depending on it always depends. Before I answer anything, I have to give some caveats and explain why it depends on these. You have to set the standards at least so you have a good foundation of understanding. I totally appreciate your whole line of thinking there. You do a rerun. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And a lot of times I create my own personal dialogue, and when someone else asks me a question, I start answering it, and then I uh, I react to my answer before I'm even done answering, and I catch myself just arguing with myself back and forth, and then eventually I may come to some conclusion. I don't know. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but like, and this is how an interpretation can be different from one person to another. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're an air sign? I don't know what sign I am. Do you mean my zodiac? I'm not sure. I'm a Scorpio Sagittarius cusp. Is that air? That's another thing that I got into for a little while until I realized how much was missing from the studies of zodiacs. Lots of studies have been done on that, and like I appreciate it. And am I getting off topic? Am I an air sign? I don't know. You tell me. I don't even remember what my angel number is anymore. I used to be into that. I've decided that I'm going to get some dry eraser bubbles for easier movement. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I feel you on that. Yeah, that could make sense. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, and maybe I am an air sign. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. Uh yeah, that's what my new video is about though. It's basically all about air. Scorpio is not air. Is Sagittarius air? I don't know. I could look it up real quick. Regardless, my big issue, and I did a whole live video basically uh trying to attempting to debunk the modern concept of the zodiac signs. Not that there's nothing to it, but that a lot of people are just flat out wrong about it for lots of reasons. And I mean, the first line of reasoning that should cause you to question it is that they've conducted lots of studies on these things, and the Barnum effect comes from a guide to air signs: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Well, Aquarius is a water sign. I mean, this is telling me that Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini are air signs. I don't know, but regardless, no water than fire. But my issue is that there's uh there's constellations that are missing from our modern zodiac, and it throws everything off. Plus the precession of the equinox has changed everything since the original zodiac calendar was made. So, and I know some like really really deep astrologers have calculated to the corrections for that and all that stuff, but like I think like most people are pretty much wrong. And then they've done lots of experiments on this. That's where the term uh suckers born every minute. This is where the idea of the Barnum effect comes from, where they would give out different descriptions of someone's zodiac to them, and or they would get one description for one zodiac, and they would hand it out to everybody, and they would ask how many of those people thought that applied to them, if they thought that it accurately described them. And uh, basically the results of the test show that the zodiacs are no better than chance. It's almost the same as like a fortune cookie, you know. But but that doesn't mean that astrological bodies can't have some sort of effect on us in some way. You know, we there can definitely be, whether it's on the quantum or the cosmic level. It does, you know, we're just knowing that we can be influenced by so many subtle energies. There's no reason to think. I just think that most people have it wrong, and it's not as it's the same as like just reading a dream dictionary. You know, you read the average, like, look up your dream and it says if your teeth fall out in your dream, it means you're gonna get rich. Like, those things are equally just like elementary, you know. And I think that's how the zodiac is for the most part. Yeah, you said I can relate to your whole dive into the whole new age beliefs and practices, especially when compared to what Christians believe in. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I've been at for a really long time, and it's like my issue was that as I got into the new age stuff more, like I said, the Reiki and the gemstone healing, and like the Christians are trying to tell me that that's devil practicing, that I have to come to Christ. I automatically, even though I'm trying to show like Christ respect with the whole Christ consciousness thing, it's like, don't tell me that working with gemstones is devilish, because it's all throughout the Bible. And then it just, I read the Bible out of appreciation first, and out of curiosity, like maybe there's something to it. But then I started reading it looking for contradictions, and I have different translations. And I would have Jehovah, you know, my girl remembers, I would have Jehovah Witnesses come into the house every single Sunday. This one wonderful lady, and she brought her husband the one week, then she brought her sons, then she would bring different members from the church, basically trying to convert me. And I would break out my Bibles, and I would also break out other books. You know, I got a lot of books. It's the only thing I collect, maybe that and coffee mugs. But and you know, we would have the discussions. But you said tarot, astrology, numerology, remote healing, magic, ethereal energy, and your energetic body, healing and sound frequency, chakra system, and the list goes on. Yes, exactly. And I'm periodically working my way through making videos on all of those things. I feel like the given last name Moses, it has created a huge contradiction of feelings. That makes sense. And maybe that has something to do with my name being Daniel too. I don't know. But and I have read the book of Daniel more than any other book in the Bible, and I still stand by, maybe it's the bias because of my name, but I still think it's the best book in the Bible by far. But so I started reading the Bible so I could contradict these people and argue with them, which isn't hard to do, and you know, point out their own internal inconsistencies and logical fallacies, obviously. But then, you know, I also got really deep into like the conspiracies thing, you know, the whole 9/11 conspiracies and stuff, which I'm not, I mean, I still think the 9/11 conspiracy might be legit, whatever. But I got really deep into the conspiracies and stuff, and you know, the cabal and the Freemasons and all of that. And obviously, like, there's grains of truth to all of these things, but that's how cults are formed, you know, on a grain of truth. But so what I realized, and then like the internet and social media takes off, and it's like all this flat earth stuff, and it's like I had to apply the same critical thinking towards these conspiracies and this ancient alien stuff and all that. I had to apply, because I would dive deep into that stuff, and I just loved it, and I never necessarily started pushing it as true. But I can't, you know, I read a lot of Zachariah Sitchin. I have like three of his books. One of them I still think is a great book. The other two are kind of nonsense. But like you said, self-researched and self-taught. Nice. Yeah, same here. Plus, being a half-breed, half American and half Native American, such a conflicted head and heart that can cause. Are you talking about yourself? Or are you talking about me? That's that's interesting, because my father, whatever. That's weird. I'm assuming you're talking. Do you know me? Do I know you? Like who? Who are you? Who am I even talking to? Do you? Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Is that? I'm assuming you're talking about yourself, but yeah. Regardless, like I said, I have to apply that same critical thinking to all of these things. The ancient aliens is a great idea, and there very well may have been ancient aliens, but the majority of what those people bring to the table is literally like it's such nonsense. It's ridiculous. Oh wow. Well, I can relate to everything you're saying. I'm not half and half. My father is half native. Geez, the world doesn't revolve around you, Daniel. No, it's just crazy. That's weird. But yeah, interesting. Yeah. So, and then, I have a lot of, and then this is where I come into these conflicts with trying to make content online because a lot of my followers fall on either one of those sides pretty heavily. No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, a lot of my followers fall on either side. I have a lot of my followers who are great people who are really into the stuff that I talk about, and they share things with me that I appreciate their sentiment, but I just can't, I have to call it out for how it is. And critical thinking has really gotten me a long way. And it's made everything so much clearer. And it's things that you don't have to only understand intuitively. It makes connections with things logically, and that builds the intuition on it. So it's like, evolution is one of those things. I got really deep into just scientific evolution because it's like that's something that religious people like to argue against, and it's like it's so obvious. The evidence, you don't have to be a biologist to understand it, and you don't even have to be a biologist to be able to explain it to someone else's satisfaction, to a disbeliever. It's just they have to put on their blinders to not understand it. Keep thinking critically. That is important. I apologize for hijacking your live. Nah, it's cool. I appreciate it. It doesn't seem like there's anybody else over on YouTube comment. I always go live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm usually engaged with the Facebook community. Tonight, I decided to do TikTok instead of Facebook because I haven't gone live on TikTok in a while, and TikTok kicked me off for smoking once on the live too. So I don't even know how that live is going over there, but I appreciate you over here. I appreciate it. And YouTube is just a better interface and stuff. Everything works better on YouTube. So things always look better and are easier to digest if you do your research. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And and not to just do that research inside of an echo chamber either. What I always like to do is a lot of times, just because I like to argue, I always like to play devil's advocate, even with myself, like I said. And sometimes I'll end up coming to a completely different conclusion than I started at the beginning of my word salad that I might be spewing out to someone. But I feel like the the research, I have to research the opposition, and that's where I think when I come into these debates with people, that's where a lot of them fail. I always think whatever point that I try to make, even no matter how valid I feel it is, what's the best possible argument that I could come up with against it, and how does it hold up to that true scrutiny? And that's when I stopped just accepting every conspiracy theory just because it was a fun theory that has some dots that could connect. That's when I started realizing, like, you can philosophically argue almost anything into existence. You can philosophically argue almost anything to be true. And understanding the basics of philosophical logic and stuff really helped me understand all that too. A Scorpio loves a good debate because they're good at it. I guess, yeah. I've always loved it with my teachers and stuff, and I had certain teachers that would receive that pretty well, and others that wouldn't. But uh, I really I enjoy it when I encounter someone that gives me a good debate. It's a little frustrating when people don't understand like decent civil and logic discourse. Not that I fully understand it. I mean, I got so much. I'm still learning every day. I don't even care to argue with the ignorant anymore. Sad truth, right? Though, right? I've gotten to the point, and that's why I stopped having the Jehovah Witnesses come over every Sunday. It just turned into uh, yeah, this the same surface level stuff over and over, and it almost seems like a waste of time. But I love a good argument. Touche. So does an Aquarius. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the best way to learn is to just continuously challenge your own beliefs from all directions, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I, that's I didn't come up here tonight to talk about any of that, but I appreciate it. I really do. That's a lot of honest truth that I haven't told a lot of people. Yeah. Yes, I did admit that. But like I have followers who I'm reluctant to approach some of the things that they send me. I'm like I've been contemplating doing uh like debunking videos on all these videos that these people send me. I did one kind of just having a little fun with it, but it's like how much time do I want to spend on that? I don't know. And it's like is it a net positive if I can get enough people to stop being distracted, and like I'm not trying to push my own agenda either. So I'm conflicted with all this. Like I don't know. Like I'm about to just make a bunch of debunking videos because it seems necessary. It seems needed. There's certain topics that just keep making their way around. Luckily, I haven't encountered too many people with the flat Earth stuff. Maybe because that doesn't go along with my content enough. Because like then I'd be out there trying to study and learn as much as I can to try to disprove flat Earth, which is so easy to do already. So have had some good times. Good times. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. These next eventually on one of these lives, I'm almost positive I'm gonna get someone trying to join and debate me on some of these things. And I hate to say it, but it'll most likely be a Christian because those are the people I get the most resistance from. Kind of like the Wi-Fi's, what the Wi-Files guy? What? I love him. Who's that? I don't know who that is. That a YouTuber? The Wi-Files. I don't know who that is, but I'll have to look that up. I don't know nothing about that. But I watch a lot of guys that do a lot. I watch a lot of debates. Did you read my comment as to what created those good times? Um, no. Maybe I missed it. What created those good times? Arguing with the ignorant? Okay, yeah, I'll definitely look him up. Thank you. Thank you. I'm always looking for more stuff to dive into, and but while I'm at work, I could just listen to these things for hours on end. That's what I do. I listen to music. I used to listen to a lot more music. I'm kind of starting to miss it, because I haven't been able to make music for the last about the LDS. What Latter Day Saints are you talking about? Are those the ones that you've had to encounter and debate with? Is that what you mean? Good times? Yeah. Or do you mean actually good times? Because those guys, they're good people from what I've seen and from what I understand. They seem like very kind people. There was these two girls who were Mormons. I admitted to kidnapping the Latter-day Saints missionaries, but at least I fed them. No, I didn't see that. Did I miss? I'm not even seeing that as I scroll up. Do you think that comment might have got? They might have tried to hide that comment. I don't know. That's good though. Yeah, I haven't had to encounter too many of them to have to worry about debating them too much, thankfully. But I'm sure that will come up, and I'm relatively familiar with their beliefs, and it's just as easy to disprove as pretty much every other Abrahamic based faith, maybe even much easier. But I do like how they have one thing I enjoy is hearing the religious people argue against themselves. Like the Mormons trying to argue against the Christians, and they pull out some good arguments against them, but it's like they don't hold up a mirror sometimes and look back at themselves. And the Muslims are great. Muslims, and actually it's funny because I get a lot of good feedback from Muslims, which I mean I'm not like proud to say that or anything, but like it's just fun because it's like I disagree with the Muslims just as much equally with everything else. So like, but the fact that they're sometimes they jump in the comments section and you're like, yeah, brother, like whatever, whatever, because I'm saying something about the Christians, but or pointing out a biblical contradiction. You said yes, they have some good core values. Yeah, absolutely, which is delicious. But the whole no coffee and the women needing a man to get into the gates of heaven. Yeah. Yeah, the patriarchy behind, and I mean, that's goes back to Judaism, even in the ancient roots of Judaism. There's definitely a heavy patriarchy that influenced all of that theology. But you said no coffee. I didn't know that they don't drink coffee. Mormons don't drink coffee? Is that true? Why? What? I mean, come on. Muslims don't eat pork. I understand why they don't. Why don't Mormons drink coffee? Because God's supposed to give you all the energy you need. Richest organization in the world, and also the richest witchcraft occurring. Yeah, but you didn't hear it from me. Well, yeah, isn't I've been seeing some of that stuff that's been coming out lately about like the wives of from the Latter-day Saints. And scariest is the man behind the veil. What do you mean by that? Do you mean Yahweh, or are you talking about some other conspiracy? Because, like I said, I've been seeing some of those clips coming out about some of the wives talking about some of the crazy things that were going on behind closed doors. Uh, I'm not like it's not something I actually looked into, but I've been hearing some of the stuff that they've been talking about, and it seems absolutely insane. I don't think that's specifically unique to them, but yeah, it's definitely something to be recognized. Ask the man behind the veil. He has the answers. Now, whether he share with you or not. Okay, I will ask the man behind the veil, and I'll see if he shares with anything with me. How exactly am I going to do that? Is there a specific ritual or incantation that I can perform for that, or can a Google search do it for me? Uh, yeah, or is that what the show is called? Are they? Is there a show about it? About like the wives of the baptisms that occur in temples where only a member of the LDS allowed past a certain point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on with that, right? I mean, are we talking like I don't want to say nothing crazy up here and get my video taken down, but I think I'm vaguely familiar with what you're talking about. I will look into it more. But it's just it's interesting that, and maybe that might compel me to start doing some more debunking videos and stuff like that, because to know that things like this are still going on, they definitely are, and they're not just going on in tiny pockets. Some of these things are more prevalent than we realize. So what is it a net? Would it be a net positive to go against these things publicly? I don't know. There's something to it, and I've always wondered that. Like, people have asked me, do I think Christianity or do I think religion in general has been a net positive or a net negative for humanity? And like, it's tough to say. I I almost want to say a net positive, but then it's like, we probably wouldn't have gotten this far. But at the same time, these days, in this day and age, is it a net positive? I don't think it is anymore. I think at one point, and when you say net, we're talking about the collection of all. So then, like, whether or not it's a net positive is kind of irrelevant. It's like, was it necessary at one point, and is it still necessary? I don't think so. I truly think that we need to start to separate from a lot of this dogmatic. You said they literally wear what I always call Mormon undershirt and underoos. They're actually invisible, flossed with symbols over the heart. Yeah. 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 Okay. I see. Right? Jeez. Sorry. So went kind of off topic. No, not really. Not at all. This is exactly the kind of stuff. This is not off topic at all. I mean, that's why I love the overall umbrella of dreams and just talking about the philosophy of dreams, because that could basically include anything, and religion plays a major part. Dreams play a major part in every religion, so we could dive into any of those topics, and I'm interested in it. I really am, and I probably will look more into that. And like, my point is that I think the dogmatic approach, that is straight some witchcraft shit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's, like I said, I think there's more of that than people like to admit. And I do think that it's completely unnecessary and not going to help humanity get much further. I think uh, maybe I'll start doing some debunking videos, just to maybe be a force against some of that insanity, absolute insanity that's out there. These people are crazy. Uh, yeah, so it's midnight. I might call it a night. I do have to work in the morning. I got to be up in 4 hours for work. So 4.5 hours. I'm gonna call my girl and say goodnight, even though she's probably sleeping. And yeah, I appreciate you, beautiful souls. Kimmy Moses, thank you for the conversation. Very cool. I learned a bit tonight and got me thinking about some stuff. So I have a lot more research and a lot more work to do. And like I said, my video on the history of the spirit and the one true God, that's going to be coming out in a few days. And I might wait till the weekend to put it out, but I'll probably be putting out some short clips for it before that. So yeah, you said Google the LDS, Man Behind the Veil, and get some popcorn for a mind-blowing scene. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I will. Thank you. I'll dive into some of that tomorrow night when I get home from work. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you for everything. Good night, everybody. And over on TikTok, anyone that I missed, I'm sorry, but I will. Oh no, doesn't TikTok get rid of the video after it closes out? I think they do, which is kind of lame. So maybe I'll just jump over there real quick and see if anyone said anything. I do have to call it a night though soon because, like I said, I gotta get up in about 4 hours. Yeah, see, this is the issue. TikTok's lame. It's not gonna work right now, and I ain't got time for that. So maybe I'll try to figure it out for next time. I still need to fix my computer so I can go live properly. But yeah, we'll get there one day. Thank you, Kimmy. Oh, good night. Good night. Sweet dreams. Peace and love, everyone. I'll definitely be talking to you in the future at some point. I will be back live. Next time I'll announce it before I come live instead of just popping up like this, because I didn't even announce this one tonight, and I still didn't share it out. But whatever. Peace and love.